The child has a small mirror in his hands. He holds it up at angles, inspecting his eyes, his chin, the crown of his head. He spots you, and his arms snap to his sides.
I'm not supposed to talk to elves. Well, elves eat people and their pets. Elves don't know the alphabet.
The child's eyes grow wide.
People ask you to eat them? Really? Neat. Are you a sorcerer? One of those guys that brings the bad void things here?
The child screws up his face and looks at you hard. He lifts his mirror up to his nose, closes one eye, and looks at himself again.
I don't see any source on you or me. I guess they're wrong. Or crazy. Maybe you're right. At least they don't mind where anyone goes. They know we can't leave the island, and it's a lot nicer out here than inside. They're gone now. Their magisters took them already. I guess now they're cured. And maybe they're waiting for me back at home. But you didn't die. Guess I am, but it's just normal to be scared. Nowhere isn't scary. There isn't anywhere safer. That's what I mean. You'll see.
I thought the Order would get rid of any trace of the old Source King.
Voidwoken. Those are the same beasts that sank our ship. Damn, they made it to shore.
collars were supposed to keep those things at bay. Drowned and eaten by a void woken. I wonder in which order.
Look here, Quercus. Another giant. My word, this blasted isle is teeming with them. What's that? Yes, I did see how it made short work of the great acorn servants. Quite right, very impressive. But that is no reason to trust it. Giants like that destroyed our forests. They are the very reason the great acorn is returning in all its wrath. What? Dear me, have you taken leave of all 6 of your senses? You would have me use this giant for a shield? Why would I... Oh, I see. You cunning devil, Quercus. Of course, if it defeated the great acorn's vile servants, it can do so again. We need only follow in its big, wide shadow and be safe. Egad! It speaks our tongue, Quercus! Hush before... What do you mean, a good time for introductions? You know full well who I am, you silly old cat. The great Salora, grandest of the... Oh, introduce myself to the giant. I shall do no such thing. You give away your trust too easily, my dear steed. No, we will have the giant march. In time, we'll see whether it deserves our confidence. Now, onwards! Shield! Venture forth, post-haste. The great acorn waits for no one.
You spot a strange lizard gazing over the water with a steady, malcontent stare. His skin is of a bright, blood-red colour. Could he be... Yes, you recognize him from the ship. It would seem you're not the only one who survived the tentacles of the deep. The lizard turns about with the graceful ease of a dancer, or a duelist. You lock eyes with his, two smouldering embers that sizzle your very soul.
Yes, I imagine you do. You're made of sterner stuff than I first gave you credit for. Chances are I wouldn't have survived the shipwreck had you not returned to the aid of your fellow passengers down in that dreadful hold. You have my gratitude.
Hand over heart, he salutes you with a bob of the head. More than a nod, though less than a bow.
Yes, I'm sure you've all the makings of a hero and all that, but let's not get carried away, shall we? Now then, if there's nothing further... I'm sure I don't mean to sound condescending, but I had thought it quite self-evident I was gazing out over the waves.
He sighs dramatically.
Tell me, what do you see when you cast your glance over this ocean? Touché.
He looks out over the water once more, and so do you. A few tranquil moments pass as the waves lap against your thoughts.
As for myself, when I consider this vast expanse before us, I see an empire. I see continents dotted with mighty cities. And shimmering along the soft curve of the sea's horizon, I picture the palaces that formed my paradise. Lost. What do you mean, what do I mean? I mean just what I say. I had a very actual empire that I lost.
Suddenly, having all the air of being deeply offended, he stares at you with utter incredulity.
Well, don't just stand there gawking like an ape at an abacus. Or do you really mean to tell me you don't know who I am? Well, more's the damn pity, isn't it? For I am the Red Prince, the All-Conqueror, the World-Tamer, the Spouse of the Sun. Of course you know me.
There's a brief moment's pause, during which his grandiloquent pose deflates ever so slightly.
That said, I suppose I must own up to the fact that I find myself rather in between all-conquering and world-taming opportunities at the moment. The grandeur that is my fate has hit a bit of a snag. But never you worry. For the throne I was destined, and my throne I shall have. This and that. Tag along. Do you really mean to compare the fate of an empire to whatever foibles you seek to fix? On the other hand, I really could do with a dog's body. And you've already proven to be trustworthy enough. You came back for the others on that ship, after all. Fine, I accept. On one condition. For reasons I'll not disclose right now, it is imperative that I should meet with a dreamer, one of the mystics of my kind. I've reason to believe one of them may be present on this island. Promise me we'll look for him, and I'll extend you the blessing of my company. You do tend to beat around the bush, don't you? Oh well, that wishy-washy answer will have to do then. So, now that that's settled, first things first. Even if you are as versed in the art of eloquence as I am, that our swords will be doing a lot of the talking from here on out goes without saying. As a born fighter, I prefer the perfection of the blade myself. But I'm well acquainted with the secrets of magic, and yes, even subterfuge. What say you? Very well. Onwards, then, to victory or death.
The Red Prince nods and gives you a smile that wavers ever so delicately between courtesy and contempt.
Now, as you're aware, you'll be traveling with a prince. proper forms of address include Your Majesty, Your Royal Highness, or if you're feeling particularly frivolous, Milord. As your luck would have it, I seem to be fresh out of luggage, so you won't be required to carry my belongings. Of course, there are other forms of protocol to bear in mind, but I'll see to it you'll pick up the rest as we go. So, without further ado, let us be off.
Oh, how pensively our shield looks down upon us. Dear me! It has questions, Quercus. Why, yes, I suppose answering them is the polite thing to do. Speak, shield! What are your queries? A giant body, but no giant brain, eh, Quercus? Surely even the tall folk know that Rivellon was bare before the great acorn fell from above and seeded the Irwood, covering this land in beautiful, perfect forests. Beautiful and perfect until the giant races, no offense, realized they could use it to build their houses and fuel their fires. They carved the Irwood up, and the forests shrank and shrank. None of the original wood remains. But someday, the great acorn will fall again. The forests will be reborn, and the giant races will be wiped from this world. At least that's what I hear. Oh, Quercus, it wants answers. As if it is the first creature to ponder the big questions of the universe. What tree did the great acorn fall from? Where did that tree come from, if not a greater acorn? Could you build a nest great enough to store the great acorn for the winter? Some questions have no answers, Quercus. Why is that so difficult to understand? The great acorn will come. It will destroy the world, and squirrels will reign supreme forever. I fail to see what's so difficult to grasp. What do you say, Quercus? We once believed it was good, but now... No, quite right. As terrible as the giants have been to us, we do not want to see them wiped out. Rather, we must find a way to live together in peace, giant and squirrel. Although it would be quite a bit easier to get along if the giants would stop turning our home forests into spears and ships and things, wouldn't it, Quercus? Perhaps the shield will let them know as much.
A black cat. Some would see this as an omen.
It seems we are not the only ones taking on strays. No, no need to be jealous, Quercus. Fur maketh not the cat.
Now where should I put this one? Hey lady, it's a lot nicer here than that stinking boat, huh? I'm sure glad you went back to save the others. saw one of them wringing out their tunic at the shore a few hours ago. Say hi for me. 1, 2, long dead of the crew. 3, 4, pretty shells on the shore.
What's this?
I found something.
Quite right. Do seek my counsel. I highly recommend it. As am I. A prince should die of old age or on the battlefield. Anything else could be construed as weakness of character. That said, I've the distinct feeling I wasn't meant to die today, for despite your heroics, I was still cast into the water. I sank. I drowned. But there was something in the water. A voice made of air that soothed my flooding lungs. There was sudden light, warmth, life. Truly, how intriguing. To hear a voice whilst drowning is a rather specific delusion to share, is it not? Still, I wonder if...
He hesitates.
Are you a religious person? A pity. Religious persons tend to be all too self-important in their supposed humility. As for myself, I perform the ancient rites of prayer and ceremony with a kind of languid indulgence. After all, when one is revered by many as a living god oneself, public deprecation would be needlessly self-important as well, wouldn't you say? There was a small incident which prompted my many rivals to move against me. Technically, they had the letter of the law on their side. Such a nuisance, the law. Quite necessary to keep the common in line, of course, but one such as myself it should exempt as a matter of course. Notice that, did you? For future reference, if I don't answer a question, it's because I don't want to. I hardly know you as yet. Let's leave some mystery in the relationship, shall we? We can exchange criminal records later. There isn't much to say, but for the fact that I simply must. It's the portent of it all. I can feel it. The revelation will be world-changing. I just know it. How you lack in vision. By the time I'm done, I will have real castles in the sky. As certain as the sun, such is my conviction. I will be, then grow beyond being. I intend to rule an empire one day, not a tiny outcropping in the sea, lording over gulls and guppy fish. To that end, I suggest we focus on the obvious. A farewell to Fort Joy and a hello to the mainland. Of course, I'd much appreciate it if we managed to find a dreamer first.
I wonder where this leads.
As the alcove opens up, you see the same skeleton that you met on the boat before it sank. He's still not wearing his mask. He's leaning over a corpse, prodding and pulling at the skin of its face. Bugger.
How on earth am I supposed to... Oh. Perhaps...
Skeletal fingers reach down and grip the skin of the dead man's face, pulling sharply upwards. After a few more tugs at the man's cheeks, the skeleton relents, letting the head drop to the ground with a damp thud.
Damnation. That's stuck fast. I wonder, does the beard act as some form of anchor? Ah! No! Stay back! Don't... Oh, it's you. I must admit I'm surprised. Perhaps you're more buoyant than I suspected. Oh, yes. An exceptionally common, but exceptionally valuable commodity. A face. A face that seems rather stubbornly attached to his skull. I would normally employ a tool to delicately but viciously rip the face from the body. I could then craft a mask to hide my bone. But as I lack such a tool...
The skeleton grabs the corpse by the cheeks and pulls hard, grunting in frustration as the body's skin holds firm.
Oh, don't be ridiculous. I have important things to do on Reaper's Coast. I cannot simply sit about waiting for the rest of you to die so I may continue my business in peace. No, I may be an eternal, but my patience has its limits. Indeed, I may be the only eternal. My people seem rather absent. At least from this realm. As for the others, well... There is an excavation site at the Black Pit's oil fields. Perhaps there I'll find my answers. A cult? Hardly. We were a race that existed before the idea of race was needed. We were all one. I could ask you to imagine an Eternal as a creature of incredible intelligence and skill. But I fear the limits of your imagination would not do us justice. We studied the mysteries of the universe. We created works of great art. We disappeared. But I will find them. Wherever they are, I will find them. We will have our world again. Well, that hardly seems relevant. But if you must know, I was inconvenienced for a time. Several centuries, in fact. Or perhaps millennia. One tends to lose track. I was sealed in a tomb for daring to be curious about the world. It seems our king did not agree that the universe should be explored to its full potential. Perhaps I should thank him. It seems I was spared whatever happened to the others. I wonder if flowers would be appropriate. Ah, well, that is the curious thing. They are clearly absent from this world, and yet they are everywhere. Every one of your races resembles them in some manner, and the statues you have built to your gods look remarkably familiar. Perhaps my people have ascended to some new realm, or perhaps your gods are merely a folk memory. Regardless, they are not here. But I will find them. Wherever they are, I will find them. I suppose, circumstances being what they are, it could be advantageous. You seem more at ease in this world than I. A guide would certainly be useful. Excellent. While we are conversing, perhaps you notice that I am rather skilled in, well, all things. Of course, the arcane arts are my little speciality, but being a brilliant wizard does not mean I cannot handle blade or bow. So, which do you require for this enterprise of yours? I could do that with one hand behind my spine. Now, shall we get on? There is rather a lot to see. Splendid. Very well. Let's be off.
The cat's eyes are clouded and grey, but it stares at you with acute intensity.
What? How did I get... Hey, stop following me. What? No, that can't be. I can't... Hey, stop following me. Huh? Yeah, fine. I'm fine. I'm not sure. It's all a little foggy.
The cat opens his mouth as if to speak, but his eyes lose focus, and with a jerk he turns away from you.
Where is she? You go with us. Who are you? Are you from the shelter? She says nothing of another. Fire, alas! She is so late! Never mind. It is not your concern. You leave. But...
She leans forward. Her eyes are wet with fear as she takes your hand.
please, do not lead anyone here.
You hear a small whimpering sound from behind a basket. You peer behind it and find a small human child holding her knees and trembling. The child quiets and seems comforted by your presence. She looks up at you with curious eyes.
There are monsters here. Lizard ones and real ones. It's really scary. And I miss my ma and pa. Master was a lizard. She sent us here. Me, ma and pa. She was not a nice lady. Lizards aren't nice ladies. It's their fault I'll never see ma and pa again. Parents are the best. They take care of you and make sure nothing can hurt you. And when they leave, you're all alone.
Her eyes lock with yours for a moment. She places her head on her knees and sits quietly.
Mama?
Yes, by all means, let us partake in the art of conversation. This place is no haven for innocence. Farewell, my furry friend. Foolish to attempt an escape by sea in these waters.